Hi guys, I'm Arundhati. Welcome to Know Your Coach show. And today we have with us legendary Leroy Disa sir. He is Asian Games doubles bronze medalist, multiple time national champion. He was part of a national team as a coach for many years. He was at a coach seat when Gopi sir won his All England. And he is still playing at the age of 66. That's legendary Leroy Disa sir, and he'll be sharing his journey, his views, his advices with us today. So let's begin. Hi, sir. Welcome to our show. And I have always been fan of you. Uh, your positive energy, your charm. I mean, you are an inspiration for all of us. And sir, do you remember the time Ranchi National Games when I won a gold medal and you were the coach during that time? I mean, it was so amazing and it was so much fun. Uh, so, on that note, welcome again to our show.
Good morning, Arundhati, and thank you very much for having me on your show. Yes, when I look back into the past and look back to what you were as a player, I sometimes wonder why players from Maharashtra, the lady players, could not try and take a leaf out of your book. I don't see them they are not playing badminton as a as a sport which I feel they you enjoy playing badminton. Today, and I see the youngsters play badminton, it is not enjoyment. They are playing it, there's more of a penance.
Yes.
There is more pain in there is no joy. There is more pain. When you used to play and the other players, I remember even Neha
Yeah.
playing. There was pleasure. I would enjoy. The public would enjoy watching you all play.
Yeah.
Now it is like gladiators going on the court, tap, two, tap, two. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. I mean, yes, we will get to that part about the younger generation. But firstly, sir, we would like to know about your journey. I mean, how you started playing and who was your coach, where you used to play, and your journey to Asian Games medals. I mean, that is so amazing. So, take us back in time and let's just relive your moments.
Well, during my time, everybody was a seasonal sportsman.
Yeah.
We played games as per the season. In the rainy season, we were restricted to playing indoor games. Once the rainy season stopped, then we came on to outdoor games. We played football, cricket. We were jack of all trades. Our playing sport was a must. At least my father would always say, I do not want you in the house once you come back from school. Once we came back from school, the school bag would be in the side. We changed our clothes, we wore our tennis shoes, and we were down. We were playing anything, we just played. There was nothing called, specializing or, going for coaching like they have today. Ours was what? We go down, we play, we get tired, 7 o'clock, lights are on, come back home, have a bath, study. Have your dinner, go to sleep. Next morning, get up, same routine. Getting up in the morning and going for training, that is something which we never knew. My association with badminton started with a bang. Once my father, he was in the Reserve Bank, an officer in the Reserve Bank, and he was transferred to Hyderabad. Now, it is so funny that when I look back and think how I started playing badminton in Hyderabad.
Yeah.
My days in Hyderabad, believe it or not, we had just one badminton court. One badminton court, and that too, it was a cement court.
Yeah.
It was in a very big ground, which was known as the exhibition ground. Every year, the All India Industrial Exhibition was conducted in those grounds. And there used to be a small club that used to open during that time. They had a badminton court, there was billiards and cards and all, but among the sports that was it was only badminton. Fortunately, with some good influence, the badminton court was kept open throughout the year, and a few of us badminton players would play. I started playing badminton in my school. We had a small hall, and I would play badminton in that hall.
Okay.
And the first year, we went for the inter school competition, and I played that tournament. I won that tournament. I was selected to play for the Hyderabad schools. That started my journey. I was very fortunate. You see, during my days, we never had any coaching.
Oh yeah.
We would watch and improve. I do not know during your time, I think that was a time when coaching had just started. But otherwise, what would happen is you listen to what a senior player told you and you did something. Training, you saw somebody going for a run, chalo, apan bhi bhagna chal. We'll also start running. You saw somebody skipping, okay, we'll also skip. All this thing of training and all was never known to us. So we started playing badminton. We came up in the game. Everything was trial and error. Watch and improve, trial and error. There was something that we did, it clicked, we stuck onto it. Something that we did, it did not click, immediately change. It was like this. We played the game, and as we kept on playing, we developed a liking the game. Our, it became, we were so fond of playing that we would start dedicating and trying to find out more and more time to play.
Hmm.
This was how we started playing badminton. Imagine today in Hyderabad, there must be at least 50 to 60 big badminton courts. And in the days when I was playing, there was only one badminton court.
Oh, okay.
I think way back in 1970, 70, the Lal Bahadur Shastri, LB Stadium as it is called.
Yeah.
In those days, it was the Fateh Maidan Stadium. That indoor stadium was built. And I remember I was the person who played in that hall when it was inaugurated.
Wow.
My first nationals was in that hall. And such a coincidence that my last nationals that I played was also in that hall. So if I plan to start coming into competitive badminton again, I will use Lal Bahadur Stadium as a place where I will make my entry again.
Wow. Wow, sir. That is really great. So just take us, then this is how you started playing. Then you started winning nationals, yes. And then you won Asian Games individual medals, sir. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I know how difficult it is to win individual medal. I mean, how was that journey for you, sir?
Well, as I said, during my time, we never had any proper coaching as such, coaching that was a planned sort of a coaching. Our coaching was we tried to get ourselves into a situation where we were fit. We thought that playing the game, at least I thought I would play the game the way I believed it's supposed to be played.
Yeah.
Now, I would not agree with the way training is conducted by certain people during those days. They would make, they had a set type of a training program for everybody. And I would find it very difficult to do long distance running. So I would modulate and I would change the training which I thought would suit me. I would do more of foot training. I would do more of short sprints. I would do more of, for me, if I had a 25-meter plot, it was sufficient for me to do my training. I never believed in this long distance. I would go for a small jog, yes, that was okay. But to do it as a routine for me was penance. I believe that whatever I did should help me in my game. I would always wonder whether a person doing long distance running, whether it would help him. Are we training to become athletes? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe if I had to do it, I might have become a much better player. But my mindset was such, it never accepted something. You see, the most important thing is you have to start accepting what you do, whether that thing would help you. You see, I was very fortunate when I started playing badminton. At Hyderabad, I had the pleasure of playing with some most fantastic players. I think most of them People don't even know. There was a player by the name of Dr. Zahoor Hussain. In my opinion, I have never seen a player with such good footwork and such fantastic strokes as Dr. Zahoor. I partnered him for a while. I learned a lot from him. And then along with him was Arif. He was another person who was very good in footwork. He later on went, did his NIS and then started coaching. But I was having the pleasure, I had the pleasure of playing with these people. We were on a, are ture basis. We used to sit and talk. They were much senior to me, but we would sit and talk. I would ask them questions. The wonderful part was they were willing to impart knowledge. That is the way we came up. We asked questions, they gave us answer. Then we would think, that may be good for him, but we would try it out. Ours, take the advice, try it out. This is the same thing. So what happened? My foundation was built that way. I learned to ask people. I learned to accept. Yeah. When I was my father, after a period of time, I won a lot of state tournaments, playing in Hyderabad. Fortunately, at the right moment, my father was transferred out of Hyderabad. At that time, badminton in Hyderabad was, if you told a person that you were playing badminton, you were from Hyderabad, nobody bothered. It would look like when you used to come and play, Hyderabad ka player hai, chalo yaar, apan pictures aake aate, wapas aake khelte. In those days, it was that way. My father was transferred to UP. I was in Kanpur. But what I did when I went to Kanpur, I took all the fundamentals that I had learned from Hyderabad. I took it to Kanpur. I was playing in Kanpur already as an established player because there I realized that I was one up against the rest. My foundation in Hyderabad never helped me for some reason or the other. But when I went to Kanpur, it brought out a different Leroy Disa. And the first local tournament that I played, I clicked. I played for UP, and believe it or not, for the first time, UP entered the finals in the national interstate championship. That's something that they had never done before. So that started my journey in good badminton. I started getting recognition. And as I played, as I was playing, I realized that, I was better off playing doubles than playing singles. So I think I was the first person to make the choice to totally stop playing singles. Although I played singles, decent singles, and even later on in my career when I was in the railway, I was playing singles. But at that moment, I played exclusively doubles. I gave up playing singles because I felt rather than playing singles and lose all my energies in singles, I would play only doubles. Yes, it was also that I was slightly lazy and I didn't want to train as much as my single colleagues were training. But I felt that playing doubles was my cup of tea. That is how I started playing doubles. 1973 was my first tournament. My first nationals I played, I won. And after that, it was never looking back. I was playing and I never played any tournament for about 5 to 10 years without playing the finals.
Wow. What has changed in badminton since then?
You see, I'll tell you, playing badminton, right, the change that I noticed in badminton came in 1983. See, 1976, I remember playing my first ABC championship at Hyderabad. Now, in that was the first time that I got an opportunity to see the Indonesian players. And it was the first time that the Chinese players came and played. So we got a chance to see the great Hao Chia Chang, Tan Seng Hu. We got a chance to see Ili Sumirat and all the good players. In that tournament, I was partnering Prakash in the individual events. Now, the tournament went on and we were all first timers. Prakash was a player who had played a little earlier, much earlier to us, but the rest of the team were all first timers. Now we played. I remember Prakash was playing the quarterfinals in the men's singles, and in the doubles, Prakash and myself were to play another Thailand pair. Now that was my first international tournament, and I had entered the quarterfinals, so I was very excited ये करेगा, वो करेगा. And the greatest thing was the tournament was in the same hall where I made an in. That was the hall which I had inaugurated. It was in Hyderabad, my actual hometown where I started my. So I was very excited. Prakash played against the top seed Bandit Jain, and he beat him in 3 games. And 20 minutes later on, we were to play the doubles. Unfortunately, Prakash had to play the men's singles semi-finals later on in the evening. So the team management felt that it would be better that Prakash would do well, because if he won the semi-finals, he would enter the final. The management never bothered about that. So they asked me. I said, okay, Prakash is playing very good. We gave a walkover in the quarterfinals.
Oh.
And I felt bad, but I was very happy that Prakash went on to the semi-finals. But as luck would have it, 1 week later on, the team, we played the Nehru Memorial in Delhi. And in the quarterfinals, fortunately, we met the same people, the same pair that we were to play at the ABC Championship, and we beat them.
Wow.
So I felt that I would have already have won a medal had I played the same combination in 1976. But that was it. And after that, badminton was again going on as usual, play a national level tournaments now. The actual change that I noticed was in 1982. The Asian Games was to be held in India, New Delhi. Now that was the first time that I realized that there were so many camps. We used to have a camp of 1 month or 2 months. There would be a break of 15, 20 days. Again 2 months. And again a break of 15, 20 days. Again 2 months. And this went on right up till the Asian Games. Now, playing as a team, it was the first time that we got a chance to play in little bigger halls. It was the first time that we got a chance to play with imported shuttlecocks. That was for us a luxury. It was something that we never dreamt. It was not available. Even if you could afford to buy it, it was not available in India. So you just couldn't do. You had to be content playing with the Indian shuttlecocks. You hit one, smash, the shuttlecock broke, and you thought you were a very powerful smasher. When you went to play international tournament, you would smash, your muscles would tear, but you would never get a point. So that was something that changed our outlook. It changed our life in badminton. Playing with better equipment, playing with an improved infrastructure. We were, our confidence level was better. And then there in that tournament, again, that was good luck for me. I had a partner who was a wizard in his mind. He would do all the calculations. He would say, I will go here. He was an engineer by profession. So everything of his was tactical, technical. I would only be the executor. He would tell, I am going to do this. The shuttle will come here. You be ready. And 8 out of the 10 times the shuttle would come there, I would be ready, and top, we would win the point. So playing with him was another learning experience. Pradeep was a great guy to partner. You lost a match, no bother. But right throughout, he was the one who taught me, actually, who made it, gave me that insight. Every practice match that we played, he would say that this is our finals in the team championship. This is our finals at team event. So every time we played in practice, it was not a practice that we were playing. We were playing a match. So I would want to make it a practice, but my partner would not allow. He would, make me and motivate me in such a way. So that is how I learned to motivate others. You learn so much from other people, and that's the way it is. And once I got the know that yes, you can motivate a person to play a game that he normally would not have played otherwise, because I learned to motivate myself. So I realized it was clicking. So I realized that if I can do this to others, it would click. So later on in life, when I started coaching, that is how I started using this talent to motivate the younger players. Whether it clicked, I don't know, but I have seen a lot of players gaining success. I played this tournament. Asian Games was there. We played this tournament. We entered the semi-finals in the team event. In the team event semi-finals, we played against the legendary Christian Hadinato and Ichuk Sugiarto. They were the number one combination from Indonesia. And Pradeep and myself went, and both of us were singing and going on the court. Chalo bhai, आज हम लोग का धोबी घाट बनने वाला है. As we started playing, we realized that we were at par with them and we could win. So we became excited. We won the first game and we were leading in the second game, and that is when we became even more excited. And I still remember we were smashing and smashing and smashing. You see, that is where you realize how today's type of coaching would have helped us. At that time, there was nobody to guide us. We thought we were doing very well, but we didn't realize that we had expended all our energies in that smashing that was there to try to finish the game. We lost that match, and ultimately we lost the third game also. In the open event, in the semi-finals, again, I met the same combination. And again, we won the first game. And again, we were leading in the second game, and we made the same mistake, not realizing that we thought that, yeah, that time was a mistake. Now we'll win it. What win it? We lost the second game and lost the third game. Then when you come back to the dressing room and you sit down and think, that's when you wonder, yes, we should have been patient. We should have changed. You know, today I know how important it is to have different plans, how important it is to have different type of strategies. At that time, we never knew. We learned by our mistakes. When we learned it was a very bitter lesson to learn, but all the same, we learned it. So that's the journey of my medals.
Wow, sir, amazing. I mean, that is very inspiring. Just now you said ki uh, the coaching system. I mean, the coaching system now would have helped you there. So, but now I think you are the part of the coaching system. So, I wanted to ask ki, badminton in your era and badminton now, right now, current generation. What's the difference and how it has changed?
Today, badminton, Indian badminton is looking very happy. It's looking very happy not only as far as the players are concerned. During my time, I don't remember ever I had played so many nationals. I think I have played the largest amount of, most amount of nationals. I do not remember in my peak whether even the court officials, whether there were different type of referees, chief referees. Even the court officials, that area has improved. Today, the badminton players in the current generation
Yeah.
are seeing much better situation. Number one, the infrastructure is good.
Yeah.
Number two, the availability of equipment is very good. Number three, the opportunities are galore. Number four, availability of sponsors, tremendous. When you have the infrastructure, which is the most important thing, coupled up with very good equipment, what more does a player want? He has the opportunity to train in the same situation where you will be competing. During our time, we were in small shanty courts. Then, when we used to go to bigger courts, we used to feel lost. I don't remember you going from court 16 to 1.
Yeah.
It would take us half an hour just to move from 16 to 1 in those days. But here, people are used to on a daily practice basis. You are playing in huge stadiums. You are playing with equipment that is going to be used. So automatically your body, your mind gets tuned. There is no hurdle. There is no, snags that you would say, okay, yeah, I'm not used to this schedule. You are used to all the conditions. Number three, the system of coaching that is available today was never there in those days.
Yeah.
With the progress of science, the coaches are now able to give a particular type of a program for a particular person. There is a few things that are there in general, but otherwise, the program is made to suit the potential of the individual. Today, what Sindhu would do, I'm sure Saina is not doing. And what Saina would do, I'm sure Sindhu is not doing because each one have got a different game. What the player has to realize today is take advantage of the situation. I feel that this situation is there, and anywhere in the world you go, I don't think you will get a better situation than what we have at the moment in the country.
Yeah, true.
Players are playing, but a point of caution is where these players should understand. I feel that most of these players are getting injured before time. Most of these players, if they are able to cope up with their injuries, then I'm sure. The reason why they are getting injured is I think we are aping. We are trying and doing our training more towards the oriental type of players. You know, too much of jumping, too much of leaping and smashing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is the right system, maybe it is. But then, if that is the right system, then I think you've got to develop your muscles to ensure that there is longevity in your career and your career will be minus injuries. This is not happening. I've seen most of the players are injured.
Yeah.
During my time, rarely would you find a player with a kneecap or with some other bandage or something like that. Today, if you don't have a kneecap or if you don't have that thing that you wear around your belt or if you don't have patti, and nowadays what, I'm sorry about the kneecap, that has gone outdated. It is all this kinesio tape,
Yeah.
pink putty here, blue putty there, and yellow putty here. With all these
Yeah.
advancement, it clearly shows that the people are not, they are injured or they are using these as support. So unless we are able to make sure that our players can go on the court minus these frills, then I think we are doing a good job.
So yeah, my next question is, as you said that we are in the best era of badminton right now, and do you think the younger generation is self-motivated?
They should get motivated because one thing is they have got people to look at. Today, as a young badminton player, girl badminton player,
Yeah.
or a boy badminton player, I've got something to look at. I mean, today I, as a veteran, when I look at Sindhu and when I look at Saina, I say to myself, wow, I still want to be like them.
Yes.
So the younger generation will automatically should automatically feel okay. I want to be like Sindhu. I want to be like Kashyap. I want to be like Srikanth. I mean, you have to have that thing should come from inside. It is not like I जा रहे खेलने के लिए अपना बैग लेके योनेक्स बैग लिया टक 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 I'm walking तो मेरा neighbor लोग देखा mama bye जाके that is not the way. When you come to play, there has to be some meaning. You're not going to play just to fill up a vacancy. You're going to play because you want to learn. You go to school. Why do you go to school? You go to school to learn. Then you gradually start understanding that there is so much more than just going to school.
You have had a successful playing career.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last time I checked, you are still playing. I mean, I just saw that you have won medal in the veteran championship national level tournament with your wife, 65 plus. Yeah, last time. I mean, a few months back, and even Nigel won a medal in that tournament. I just wanted to ask you, what inspires you, what motivates you, to take the racket and go on the court and compete at this age. I mean, still. So, what motivates you?
I'll tell you what, it's a very simple thing. When I started playing badminton, and as I reached the twilight of my career, and I watched the younger players playing, I realized that there are a lot of things that I had done incorrectly. So I wanted to try and use my knowledge, my experience to help the younger generation. And I was very lucky in that time when I was at the end of my career. I got a batch of youngsters, Mangrish Palekar, Vincent Lobo, Vikrant Patwardhan, Asavari, Firoza Batliwal, all they were all playing. They were all the Bachurams, as I would call them, during the time when I used to play. So I started coming on my own and helping them. And we formed a small group of practicing. We used to practice together with me as the coach, and I would try and guide them. I would try and see, I would feel that, we were all middle class people. We could not afford, going for coaching. So we would, within our small availability of our finances and all our things, we would try and help each other. I would try and guide them and help them. So as I was guiding them and helping them and telling them what to do, I realized that those were the things that I also had not done. In my play, it's very easy to tell, Chalo Arundhati, you have got to do this. But Sala, have I done that thing? No, I have not done that thing. So what I do? While they were doing, I was doing it also a little bit. They would be at a much higher pace. Mine would be at a lower pace, but all the same I would do. So gradually, I started becoming more and more involved. You see, then as the years passed by, it became like a passion for me to teach youngsters, to to transfer my knowledge to them, to make sure that they would do the right things. And the pleasure became greater. Why? Because they were getting success,
Yeah.
which means that what I was telling them was the right way. I would be in the national camps, I would help the people there, I would play with them, I would try to. See, I hated being a coach who would be at the sideline. City wala coach I didn't like. I like to be a racket wala coach. I would like to be a coach with a racket in the hand, going on the court and playing with the students. I hated to be fast, slow, chalo either bhago, udhar bhago. Yeah, this type of bandmastergiri I never liked. My coaching was, I'm going to go on the court. If I can give you a run and if I can make you play the way you are supposed to play at that level, then my job is done. So what happened? I became, badminton for me became part of my DNA. I do not know what happened, but it was like we have coronavirus. I was infected. So badminton was an infection to me. People say it's passion. With me, it is not passion. It is an infection. And that infection has remained. Today, I have learned to remain with that infection, and I try and help, whether you are young or old. I can play badminton with the hand, I can play badminton with the mouth. So I am equally comfortable giving you that pep that you require or giving you that physical thing that you require. For me, badminton, where I only pray that when I go up, I should be there I should be a badminton player going up, not one old fellow with a danda in his hand. No.
Amazing, sir. You are such an inspiration, sir. Such an inspiration. So my next question is related to the answer you just gave. Ki, how was your transition from a player to a coach? Because I have seen few players who have transitioned into coaching, and as a player, uh, this decision is pretty difficult. It's not easy to make. So, what's your take on it, and how was your transition? How did you chose to become a coach?
See, first, you have to understand one very important thing. What is the meaning of a coach? If you ask a simple question, what is the meaning of a coach? I believe that a coach is somebody who is there to help you. A coach is somebody who is there to help you become better in whatever field you are. Whether coach, teacher, is the same thing. Today you have coaching classes. They call it coaching classes. What is coaching classes? Science coaching classes, maths coaching classes, various coaching, badminton coaching class. So
Yeah.
coach is basically a teacher. So if a teacher wants to be successful, then I believe it is very important for the teacher to come down to the child's level, to the student's level. If you expect the student to come to your level, then he doesn't require you.
Yeah.
He doesn't require you. I am required only for those people who require me. In other words, I am, if I don't come down to your level, then I will never be able to raise you up to my level and above. I will, if I'm expecting you to do 1,000 skips in 2 minutes, it's impossible because I know it's not possible. So I have to first make you do 100, then take you to 200, and then take you to 300, and then ultimately reach 1,000. What the today's coaches, probably an unsuccessful coach, doesn't realize is that he requires to go down and pick the person up rather than expecting. Nobody see at a certain level, you will maybe at the national camp, you will get players who are ready made. I think at the national camp, players are there. Yeah, they are already there. What you are doing is what we call finishing touches. You are giving. You're doing the trimming, painting. The building has already been made. What you are doing in the national camp, what we are doing is what we are doing. We are putting that patti there, and there's painting on the top. Just putting that what do they call it, a lal patti. They put that to make it smooth, and then do the painting. That is our job at the national camp. At the national camp, when you have got top national players coming, you don't expect to teach them fundamentals. They already know the fundamentals. You are going to, so at that stage, you expect, okay, you have already got a player who reached that level. Now you've got to push him higher.
Yeah.
That is it. But otherwise, a coach is supposed to come down to the level of the student and then start bringing him up. So if one has this attitude, then it's not difficult. If one doesn't have this attitude, then God bless the student. Yeah, really.
So, like, how you chose to become a coach?
I didn't choose.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to become a coach. I think I was a coach. A coach is only a word. I don't consider myself to be a coach. I consider myself to be a player who is ready to share his experience with anybody who's willing. And I love to have a student who is like a sponge. A sponge is something that will absorb everything that comes to him and then keep what is required and delete what is not required. Simple.
Nice, nice. So the next question is, so you been part of Indian national teams as a coach for many years, and you were there in the seat of Gopi sir's coach when he won All England. Because we've seen the videos on YouTube. You were there at the edge of the seat for the last point, and uh, we have heard the story from Gopi sir's side. So we just want to hear your side of the story, how you felt during that time. How?
See, to give you an idea of the Gopi's all Indian victory, you have to understand something about Gopi. And I knew Gopi from the time he was playing Hyderabad, badminton in Hyderabad. And at that time, he would be training and playing. He had an injury, and I remember that injury. He came to New Delhi, and we saw him there, and we got him. He was operated with Dr. Rajgopal, and then later on, I have seen him come back after that injury. Number one, you have to accept and admit that his work ethics were great. He was able to come out of an injury, a very serious injury, and hit back at the top level of badminton purely because of his work ethics. But more than work ethics, I think he was very strong in his mind, and he said his mindset was so strong that he had decided that he will do something great in badminton. And in order to do that, he had a plan, and he made sure that he executed the plan till perfection. He would go out of his way. So I had the pleasure of being there in many camps where he was there. And I would observe that he was very, very, what shall I say? I won't say passionate, but he was very, very,
Determined.
no, he was determined. He was very determined in his approach, his training, practice, and all the things he did was result oriented. He did certain things because he knew or he was sure that this thing would bring me certain results. And I remember we used to be playing in the court, and I would say, tell him, I'll catch you here. And he would say, okay, you catch me here, I'll give you this. And we would play and we would, I would try and catch him there. It was more or less ego, my son, I will get you, I'll catch you here only. He would say, I challenge you, you catch me here. It would be like this. We would push each one. And ultimately, I realized that those were the things that he was doing. He had something different in his mind because he knew that those were the things that where those international players would be catching him. So he was just getting used to being caught there. He went on the court at the All England Championship, beating one player after another player after another player. And to me, every match he won, I said, great. I was very happy. Why? Because the next match he played another player. Great, he won that match. Then he played Peter Gate in the semi-finals. The only time that I had my doubt was when Peter Gate made it 14 all. I said, has Gopi lost the bus? But then he never gave it up. I'm not sure whether Peter Gate was leading 15-14, but Gopi beat him after that. He came back and he did something different and he won the match. You see, that was what Gopi was all about. He was playing to do something. He was playing, he was not going to miss the opportunity. And what we did as a coach, as I said, we were doing their only finishing touches. Sitting down there, keeping your hands like this, and just doing this. Our duty was to make sure that, see, you can't do anything. You go for tuitions. Your teacher has taught you 16 fives are, you know the answer. 22s are, you know the answer. But when you go for the exam, you're on your own. The teacher may be sitting outside. But we were only giving him moral support from outside. And doing this, and okay, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And you see, that was probably our role which we had to do. But rest of all the thinking and all the things, today it's little different. Today things have improved that you could talk. In those days you could not talk. You could just make signs. Now people are allowed to talk. So player, he played and won. He won purely on his minutes. Yes, we would sit down and assess the next opponent. But ultimately, you see, people do a lot of assessing and people do a lot of post-mortem. But I'll tell you, Arundhati, you have been a player. When you go on the court, वो कितना भी advice, no matter what assessment, you have to be able to execute.
Yes.
You have to be able to change over from plan A to plan B, when to change, what to change. All that depends on the class of the player.
Yes.
Today, I have seen many of our players at the top level winning matches they have lost because they have not been able to change strategies at the right moment.
True. Very true, sir. Because my next question is regarding this, because I wanted to ask you what qualities you wish to see in the current generation in
See,
this.
I have been watching the current generation play, singles and in doubles. And when I look at them and when I try and compare them to the other players of the world, honestly speaking, I do not find any difference.
Yeah.
The only difference that I feel that we should build up is, you get, I won't say consistency, but I would put it the duration of consistency. There are times which I have noticed that, let us take a player, now a lady player from Japan today, China today, these two, and Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina, the Chinese and the Japanese. These, keep our two girls aside. The way, and now of course there are one or two girls from Korea. The way these girls are able to keep the shuttle in play. See, you have to understand a theory. You go to play badminton to do what? To score a point.
Yes.
If you can't score the point, I believe you don't give the point.
Yeah.
Two things. You go on the court, you're trying to score a point. And when you try to score a point, it means that you are on the offense. But if for some reason you're not able to score the point, no problem. Then don't give the point, which means you are not going to make a mistake. You score a point three ways. Either you outpace your opponent, outpower the opponent, or the opponent makes the mistake. There's no fourth way to get the point. Same way. If the opponent is trying to score a point, there are only three ways. You don't allow her to outpace you don't allow her to outpower you, and you don't make a mistake. Simple. What I feel is that in a rally, our Indian players probably can keep the shuttle in play maybe 20 rallies. That's on the higher side. 20 rallies. After 20 rallies, their consistency becomes a little shaky. Now, that is a particular area where we are supposed to invest. 20, it would become 30. Suppose we are able to play positive till 30, then we would be getting their deadline. You see, they would start becoming shaky. Our consistency is 20, theirs is 30. But what happens is by 20, we are then 21, 22, we are making the mistake. But if we can come to 30, then who knows, by 28, 29, maybe they will also make a mistake. So that is what I see that, see, even if you notice when Sindhu was playing, when
Yeah.
she started keeping the shuttle in court on a longer basis, very unfortunate that she lost that world
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah.
But that is where she proved. And you notice, even when Saina played, the moment she's able to keep the shuttle in court, she is always the winner. It is only when she becomes shaky and she's not able to keep the shuttle on court. Maybe her mind tells her I've got to score a point, and that's the reason why they lose. That is the same thing that is happening to the other players also.
So you've had a very long career, and I mean you're still playing. But these days, the playing career of a player has shortened. So what's your take on it? Why playing career of a player has shortened these days?
I think the career of the player is shortened primarily because of injuries. It's all because of injury. Secondly, when we start training our youngsters, I think from the grassroots level, we have to ensure that we get players who are strong physically and mentally. Physically, it is one type of training to be done. Mentally, there's another type of training to be done. People's career normally gets shortened when they are not able to bear the brunt, the toll, the exercise load.
Hmm.
Why will they not be able to bear the exercise load? Is that you have not given them time to adapt. Time to adapt means you cannot bypass certain methods. You have to start from the base, slowly, 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 so that one day reach, they cross sub junior level, they have attained a certain level of fitness. Then, as their body grows up, they reach the junior level, they are automatically much stronger. Once they cross the junior level and they enter the adult level, the senior level, that's when you can start putting extra load. They are already ready. But I see that, especially in the ladies, our Indian culture is such that अरे इसको वेट ट्रेनिंग मत करो, उसका शादी नहीं
Yeah.
होएगा, उसको धूप में मत करो, उसका काली हो जाएगा, उसको हस्बैंड नहीं मिलेगा. और there are so many, you know,
Yeah.
what shall I say? We have got phobias that you don't do this, don't do that, ये ऐसा मत कर. So because of that, but now that is going away.
Yeah.
But that is the reason why our children have not been able to be physically. You look at the junior players who are playing. Every third person is wearing a kneecap. Elbow पे कुछ पहनेगा, कंधे पे कुछ पहने. There are, it's bad. It's bad. Which means that we are neglecting, we are overlooking. It may look, it may sound very simple. अरे क्या है ये? But no, the moment you ignore such things, that is when the problem will start. I don't think you should ignore. You have to give equal importance to the base. If you have a great base, you have no problem. I have heard Gopi say, you have got to have a great base. When he says great base he means we have to have 50,000 players playing great badminton, good potential badminton. When you have 50,000 players playing potential badminton, to get 10,000 out of the 50,000 will not be a big problem at all. And then from the 10,000 to segregate them and get 5,000 good level players will not be difficult. But if your base is bad, what will you do later on? The base is important. So also in a good player, if your base is bad, at the last moment तुम कितना भी load लगाएगा, you are going to get injuries.
Right.
Preventing injuries is more important than rehab.
As a coach, what do you value the most in a player? His or her skills or his or her talent?
I would value the ability to learn. You may be zero talent, but if you do not have that ability to learn, to understand what has to be done to win, you have no use. I have seen players, very talented players, who never had the ability to work hard. What is the use of their talent? I have seen great players, powerful players, who never wanted to work hard. What is the use? I have seen players who worked very hard, brainlessly. What is the use? You have to be able to sit down and first understand yourself. A coach will try and teach you to do the things that are required by you to win a match. I have seen players who have never used a backhand have in a whole match 4 times or 5 times they have used the backhand. They have played like this, mar ke khele, but they have been world number 3, world number 2. They have been such great players. They have been players who have no smash at all. Their smash, you would laugh. They have reached the finals and won matches. There are people. It is the determination. It is the ability of the player to be able to play. That coach has to look at that. I will not be able to get a player who is a very skillful player, but I will be able to get a player who won't make a mistake.
Yeah.
He may not be a very hard hitter, but he'll be able to displace you and with a soft smash, he will get a point. So that doesn't matter. You have to be able to excel, as they say, excel in what you have. If you have skillful strokes, then you have to be able to use that skill to your advantage. If you're not able to do that, then you're a zero. If you're a person who's got very good power, and if you're not able to use that to win the matches, then again you're a zero. All your strokes, your skill, your power, you can put in a bottle, put limbu on it and make pickle and keep it for a rainy day. Simple. You have to be able to do the things that is going to help you to win. Simple. There is no third thing. You play badminton not to get claps from the audience. You play badminton, one simple selfish thing. I am going on the court not to come out and say, well played, bad luck. I am going on the court to say, I have won. I'm going to stand like that and do like this. I have won. Finished. You got a chance to hit, मिड कोर्ट शटल आया और तूने मारा, शटल खराब था, वो बात की बात. I have won. Simple.
It's the determination, to learn something new. And
You see, if you are not able to learn
yeah,
to win, what are you going to do? See, there are many players who say, hey, मेरे पास में board stroke है, मैं, well, you're not good. I still remember Prakash saying it is better to have 5 strokes, only 5 strokes, and master those 5 strokes, than to have 15 strokes, and at that time you won't know which stroke to play.
yeah,
You have to have your 5 strokes, okay, the great strokes, but get the mastery over it. It is not that I have 5 strokes. Out of the 50 times that I use it, only 14 times it will come. Baki 36 times it is gone. But what is the use? You have to have that precision. You've got to have that level. ये मारेगा तो जाएगा. It's not like मारेगा राम भरोसा वो गया कि नहीं गया. You're not going on the court to be a donor. You're going on the court to be a dictator. You have to dictate and win. Simple. If you win by your skill, great. If you win by your strength, great. If you win by your patience, great. Because either one of them have been your plus points and you have shown your mastery in that area. Simple.
So then can we say कि the mantra of success is the determination to learn how to win?
Of course, it is your determination. And along with determination, how will you be determined to win? You cannot be determined to win unless you know that you are on the right path. And that is the reason why you require a good coach, a player. No, you require a good coach, a sensible coach. I am not saying that a good player and a good coach are there. A good player may not be a good coach. A good coach may not be a good player.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the job, when I am a coach, at that time, I may use my experience as a good player and help the student. Now, if I am a good coach and never been a good player, I may use my influence on how to win by observing many other things and then telling that person. So great. You have to be able to do that. That is what is the need of the hour in this country.
Chirag and Satvik are doing a great job at international level. Where do you see their future and what advices you would like to give to them?
First of all, to me, Chirag and Satvik, their performance is the best thing that has happened in a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
I've been waiting to see when the doubles will start taking the responsibility and doing well so that Team India will finally win. And I was very pleasantly surprised that despite such good victories that they have, and it was it was such a happy note that in the ABC that was held very recently, India was able to win the ABC because our doubles players did better than the singles players. We won both the doubles and one single. So that was a really good omen for Indian badminton. Satvik and Chirag, as I look at them, they are there to stay. They have proved themselves as one of the good combinations of the world. They have beaten good combinations. They've lost to a couple of combinations. That doesn't matter. What I see them is they are there to stay.
Yeah, sure.
And I say, and I have said a little earlier, they have to increase their range of keeping the shuttle in play. As I was telling you, after a certain amount of rallies, they probably become a little shaky. That's what they have to improve on. They've got very good offense. Their defense is not bad. It's good. It can be better. And they have to learn to strategize. They have got to learn to keep the schedule and wait for the right opportunity to penetrate. The moment they are able to do that, it will automatically, you see, what happens is your consistency, control, these two things will give a very important thing to you, will be the confidence. These are the 3 C's: consistency, control, confidence. When you have these 3 C's, then you become the 4th C, the champion.
Right.
To become the champion, you have got to be confident. Not overconfident, but confident. To be confident, you have to be consistent. And to be consistent, you've got to have good control. All that requires to be done at a level. This is what they have to do. And the most important thing for them at this moment is to ensure that they do not get injured.
Hmm. These days, the players are making decision to choose. I mean, to shift into uh, doubles in when they are 15, 16-year old. And what's your take on this?
Today, people are, you see, the trend has changed. The entire concept of the game has changed. In the older days when we used to play, players would play singles, doubles, mixed doubles, all the three events.
Yeah, yeah,
Today, people are segregating. And why are they segregating? They are segregating because they are watching the others. What is happening? Top players, good singles players are not playing doubles. Good doubles players are not playing singles. You see this trend
yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
When has this trend happened? This trend has happened late after the 90s. Earlier, all good doubles players were also good singles players.
Yes.
Do you know that Christian Harinata, who was an all-time doubles specialist, was also a finalist of the All England singles?
I didn't know this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know that Jo Boon Park was the number one singles player of Korea? And it is because he used to win singles and doubles that Korea won the Asian Games gold medal, and they were doing very well. He was an excellent singles player and also a master in doubles. Do you know that Tian Bingi, who was the world champion in doubles, was also a singles semi-finalist at the All England? We have had so many people
Yeah.
who are very good in doubles. Thomas Kilstrom, who was an excellent doubles player, was in the top five of the world in singles. See, they, today, because maybe the tenacity of the game has changed, the, the players feel that it would be better for them to focus on one event rather than two events. Because I have seen even Gopi, Prakash, when the time required, they played some doubles
Yes.
for the team.
Yes.
But they never played doubles right throughout, but they played doubles for their team. You have people like that. But because they are, they have set a trend. This trend has been set in the world over. That people have started focusing on various events. You are talking about people only focusing on doubles. Have you noticed that there are people who are only playing mixed doubles?
Yes.
There are people who are only playing mixed doubles, ladies and gents, only mixed doubles.
Yes.
Now, that you would laugh, are? But today it has become, maybe they are feeling it's strenuous. The duration of the tournament has become less. They are in 3 days, 4 days, they are finishing the tournament. So if you play two events, the toll on the body, on the physical body, is too much. So they are cutting it short and they are focusing on one event and giving everything that they have on that one event. There are people who are playing doubles and mixed doubles, okay.
Yeah.
Earlier, there are people who are playing, they used to play singles and doubles, but now they are segregated. The singles, they don't play doubles at all. Doubles players, some of them may play mixed doubles, but now
Yeah.
that is also slowly, you'll find out sometime mixed doubles will be a separate event by itself.
So then, what advice you would like to give the players, like junior players, who are completely shifting into doubles? So, आप क्या उनको बोलना चाहोगे?
I would say that in the junior level, the students have to learn to play both singles and doubles. That is my individual opinion. Reason is, when you play singles, you will really learn much more about doubles than doubles is, it is how I look at it. Doubles is a specialist event. You become a doctor, okay? You are a doctor means you've completed your MBBS. After you do MBBS, then you want to become a surgeon, or you want to become a pathologist, or you want to become a ENT specialist, or you want to become a knee specialist, or whatever specialist. But basic thing you have to do. So you have to learn the basic. At least till the junior level, you can play two events. Then later on, or maybe later stage of juniors, you start focusing on one event. Fine, that's what I feel. Because by then you will be ready. You will be ready. Physically, mentally, you will be ready. Then you keep on sort of specializing, you keep on focusing, the coaches will do their job and keep on molding you into a better doubles player, molding you into a better singles player. All that will be done at a little later stage. But at the beginning stage, you have to play two events. It's like you. Why didn't you play doubles when you were in your days? You were only focusing on singles. Why?
Yes,
Because it was a trend that was set. And I'm very sure, had you played doubles, it would have helped you in your singles also.
definitely, definitely, sir. Because lastly, later stages, I've started playing doubles, and I was like, why didn't I start playing doubles before?
Correct, exactly. You would have started playing. You might have
Yes,
realized that you had better potential in doubles, or whether there are certain doubles, the strokes and the pattern of playing doubles would have helped you in singles also. Because
definitely.
today that is what they're playing. They're not playing singles the way the singles used to be played during my time.
Yes,
Today they are playing singles. It's like a small double. They're like a box game. They're playing.
okay,
The
yes,
pull,
yes,
pull.
yes,
That's the
right.
singles that they're playing nowadays. So that a good doubles player would help.
Definitely, sir. I mean, it's a great advice, and I hope players watch this and learn
I
from.
hope they I
Yes,
mean, and I would like to say that whatever I've said is my individual opinion.
yes,
I
yes.
mean, and if somebody feels that I have said something incorrectly, do get back to me because I would like to correct myself. I don't think that it is ever too late to learn anything. I don't think it is ever too late to correct somebody.
Yes. During your time, there were no smartphones, no junk food as compared to now. So, according to you, uh, how should a parent or a coach deal with such situation? Uh, this is kind of issues coaches or parents has to face. So, what advice you would like to give to them?
See, I can understand the situation. I am a parent also, and I'm seeing the same situation in my house also. The phone is the biggest problem with the advantage of of the internet. Badminton has got a net, but the internet is the biggest problem in badminton. In badminton, we say don't put the shuttle in the net, but that is okay. What about internet? Internet and in the net are two different things. Internet has got its plus points and its minus points. With so much of news available on internet, it becomes an addiction. During during it is so bad that there are people who are eating with the phone. They are lying down with the phone and doing everything with the phone. I think if the phone is removed from them, their life will get over. It is only the good players who understand the necessity of important things. Like, to be a good player, you require to have, number one, rest, hard work, diet. Now, if you can get these three, then you are on the right track to become a good player. But if you are going to compromise in these three things, that is where the difference between a good player and people who were showing promise. Compromise is what? During the time of eating, you are using the phone. You have compromised. During the time of resting, you are looking, but I'm lying down now, so what? You're with the phone.
Yeah.
During the time of training, you're taking the phone, you run for a little, thoda, एक दो मिनट, फिर आके देखना. So everybody today, it seems as if everybody is like Donald Trump. So busy that they have got to check their phone every now and then to see, whether there's some important message come. Or I don't understand that. During my time, We were very lucky. We never had this phone. There were other distractions, but those distractions were not so
As
bad as to what this is. This is, this can make you and it can break you. This is what I have noticed is breaking all the players.
yes. Then how should parents के लिए what?
Parents, see, parents will tell, see, that's what I'm saying. Parents will, it is not the parents, it is the student who has to understand. That for that, you see, how do you learn? You learn by looking at somebody else.
Yeah,
If today the students see Sindhu not with a phone, automatically you will not be with the phone.
exactly. Yes.
If they see Gopi has got no phone, Srikant will not keep the phone, right? If
Yes.
Srikant doesn't have the phone, then you won't find the other people with the phone. Satvik doesn't have a phone, automatically, where will you have that Kapila with the phone? Nobody will have the phone. Everybody tries to copy somebody else. But if you see the other person standing in the corner, ah, bhai, kya haal hai, yeah, talking, everybody will start. It is so easy to ape another person because you think if it is good for him, it is good for me. Today at home, I see my son with the phone. Now, I do not know. Well, I have never had the phone, but it is, he has seen his friends. He has not learned it from home. He has learned it from outside. Today, even the youngsters, they know more about the phone than you and me. So, the parents are not teaching them. They are learning from somewhere. So, if you prohibit them from the phone, they will not do it in front of you. They will do it behind your back. It is very simple.
Yeah. True.
Uh,
True.
I
Stories.
have heard, I have known of students who don't talk to their parents for 2, 3 months because they have not been given their phone. So
Yeah.
what will happen? The parent will say, "Yaar, ye magajmari chodo, ye le tera phone." Finish.
True
But
story, Ranjit.
the students have to understand.
Your views on the coaching system of India and how it should be improved.
At the moment, I think the coaching system that we have here is good. But what I feel, it can become better. You see, when I look at Indian badminton players, let us come to a very simple thing. Today, it is Gachibowli. Okay, Gachibowli is where the cream of Indian badminton is there. You have, in my opinion, at least 7, 8 good badminton players of international class in singles, and 4 good or 5 good lady players, 3, 4 good doubles combination in the men, 2, 3 good doubles combination in the ladies. Now, all these players are there in the camp. Do you think it is humanly possible for one coach to look after all these people?
Definitely.
And that is the difference I see why the Japanese, the Chinese, the Korean, they have a very similar system. But I think that 4 to 5, maximum 5 players. I'm talking about a superhuman coach. It is possible for a superhuman coach to look after 5 elite players per day. So if a coach is expected to get good results, then 5 students, 5 trainees is the maximum that I think he should take care. You can have one coach or director of coaching, he will supervise everybody and he can interact with the coaches and guide the coaches. But a coach has who's looking after the day-to-day activities. Maybe you can have physical coaching separately, on the field coaching separately, but those things have to be segregated. If a coach does not have a good coach, a superhuman coach, 5, otherwise 4. Each each elite player, Arundhati, requires nothing less than an hour or 1 hour to 1.5 hour per session.
Yes.
Now calculate the amount of time per session coach has to be able to also sustain. If I have got to be on the coach with 5 students, means 7.5 hours. मैं खाएगा कब, सोएगा कब, नहाएगा कब, बाकी सब कब करेगा. You have to, you see, everybody wants to coach Sindhu. But whether Sindhu can be coached by everyone is the question mark. Everyone wants to coach Arundhati. But whether Arundhati will be able to be coached by you, that is the question. You have to be able to make sure. So if you have 5 students, you will be able to give optimum training to all the 5. And then you require to rest because you are required to come back on the court the next day like the students.
Yeah.
You will also require to do a little bit of your exercise so that when you go on the court, the student will not get the better of you.
Right.
See, all these things have to be thought of, and that is why look at all the people who are playing. Look at all they are able to do that. Every coach, you don't have a national camp where there are 2 coaches or 3 coaches. You've got to have at least 5 to 7 good coaches because you are having that much of quantity of players in your camp.
Exactly.
You've got that many players in your camp. You've got very good players in your camp. If they are not looked after, what will happen? They will stagnate and they will go. And that is when you will try and overload them. They will get injured. Everything has to be done in a systematic way. Now you could have, okay, A group will be looked after by Mr. D, B group will be looked after by Mr. C group will be looked after by Mr. Z, and then 3 days they will go. He will come with you. 3 days he will go with you. 3 days he will go with you, and you keep on rotating them so that I will look after X, Y, Z of the coaching. You will look after P, Q, R of the coaching. He will look after ABC of the coaching, and then one day put all together. Let them get the things together. You have to have things in such a way. But what is going to happen is here what is happening is everybody is expecting to be trained by one person. It's not going to be there. Jobun Park is not training all the players in Japan. All the other coaches from China are not trained by their top coach. They are trained by somebody one, the other person one. You will notice even when when their player is playing, a different coach comes to sit down for their match. So it is all this. But the person who is the coach is a coach of a level. He's not anybody who has done anything, and come and coach. You have got to have a standard coach, a coach who's there. As I said, coach with the racket in the hand.
So, do you think Indian badminton need foreign coaches or ex-Indian international players can do a better job?
I don't think foreign coaches are needed at all. I don't think. You have, what do you have? Who is your chief coach? The chief coach is somebody who is played top class badminton. He will make you a schedule. He's a person who is in the know of things. He's moving around. He's seeing the training methods. He knows what has to be done. He will chalk out the program. Okay, this is the program I have chalked out, and I think for X, Y, Z this will do. For ABC this will do, and then he has to delegate and supervise the people. The executors are the people, as I said, the other good superhuman coaches who will come on the court, and you don't require a foreign coach to do that. What do you require a foreign coach? Let me tell you that a foreign coach will try and make a player, what I have seen, do the things what he has seen in his country. I don't think our Indian players can play Indonesian badminton. I don't think our Indian players can play Malaysian badminton. Again, this is my personal opinion. I think we have to play Indian badminton. Our coach is competent, our chief coach or our director of coaching is competent to formulate a training procedure. He formulated a training procedure, it helped him win. Prakash formulated training procedure, it helped Prakash win. We formulated training procedure, it helped us win. You can formulate a training today. Things are all available anywhere. You can form a procedure. You can form your training system. What is important is to ensure that this training system is executed correctly. The execution of the training system is the crucial thing. It is the most important thing. You may have the best training system, you may have the best training coach, but if the coach is not able to execute in the right manner, your entire training camp is zero. You have to understand that five coaches can take care of 25 students. Five coaches can take care of 25 students, whereas 25 students to be dumped on one coach is not possible.
Yeah.
You have to be, see, and if a coach is not able to live up to his expectations as far as execution is concerned, he should be changed. The chief coach should say, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Z, you are not doing a good job. I don't expect you. You will go to through the other level. You have to do. What happens that every coach will also try and live up to the expectation and make sure that his people are doing well. Because if he wants to be there, he will have to showcase his potential. The potential of the coach is also on test. It is not that okay, you're a good friend of mine, chalo, you are my assistant. I said, nahi hota. You are training a national team. This national team is yours. It is mine also. It is everybody. This belongs to the country. So if I'm not good enough to serve the national team, then I may be your friend, but then I have no right to be there. Simple.
Very true, sir. I mean, as you said, the execution of the training system is very important.
Yes, it's very important. And see, it is now, I am the person, I'm the director. I am going to be there to tell you, you're the actor. I am going to be there to tell you, boss, I want you to do it in this way. शादी करोगे मुझसे ऐसा बोलना मांगते हैं. It is like this. The director is going to tell him this way. शादी करोगे मुझसे, or whatever it is. So you are going to you are telling them, I want you to do this. And then the coach, the director will have the confidence that I have explained to him that this is what, and he is going to execute it. His finesse of execution is at this level. I am not waiting for him to reach this level. He is already at this level. So he is going to be able to do whatever he's doing in the right manner. Simple.
Great insight, sir. Actually, great viewpoint of view. And sir, let's move ahead. And I want to ask you, uh, how sport inspired uh, the transformation of the society.
See, when you play sport, number one, you get recognized. Everybody at the young age likes to be recognized. It starts from the younger age. When you play a game and you win, 10 people will come and say congratulations. So it's a very good feeling. You like, you like to get recognized. So then in the class, they said, sir, Arundhati has won this tournament. So the teacher will say, come on, everybody, clap hands. Very well done. And so what happens? 40 people in your class know about it. You feel very happy. Then what happens? It builds up you. Then there is also another point. When you lose matches, you learn to accept defeat. And you learn to start building up your physical and mental uh, ability to accept the defeat, but to improve. Every time you lose a match, it should not be a setback. In fact, it should be a lesson telling you that you have to work harder. You've got to do things better. That is why you're losing. As long as you're winning means you're on the right track. The moment you lose, it means what? I'm not on the right track. I've got to do something better. So you keep on improving. So it helps you. Then what happens is it makes you more confident. When you play, you become a more confident person. You're able to interact with people. You know that when you say, "Arey, main bahut nervous ho jata hai." What is nervousness? When you want to make a person you want to make a person get out of his nervousness, बुलाओ उसको सबके सामने बोलो गाना गाओ. So automatically he will get over that stage fright. What is nervousness? Nervousness is a doubt in your ability. That is nervousness. You're always having a doubt. Am I doing it correctly? No, you don't have to be nervous. You just got to automatically, playing a sport will teach you how to become a more confident person, how to become a more determined person, how to be a more focused. Because when you're doing something, you will focus. Your focus will be in the right. All these things will help you build yourself into a much better person than what you are. It's not that another person who is not a sportswoman, but he is also doing the things that we are doing. The only thing is that he's not playing a sport, but he is also doing the same thing. But we, to excel in the sports, we are doing the things that he is doing. He is doing the things to excel in a different way. We are doing the same thing to excel in the sport, but automatically it has made us a better person. That's it. He is doing the things. It makes him a better person, but it will never make him a champion. That's the difference. Ours is a better way.
Oh, okay. So then, Abhi, these days this mental health issue is coming up. How a sport and diet and exercises help an individual with their mental health?
Mental health. Mental health is, I believe, when somebody is not able to achieve a certain target, when somebody is not able to live up to the expectations of another person, this is when the problem starts. The most important thing is, I believe, nobody should live up to somebody else's expectations. You have to live up to your own expectations. If you feel that what you have done, what you are doing is right, then you do not have to bother. I don't think it is possible for you to change the way others think of you. They are going to think. People have resulted in, you have had a lot of tragedies. It's only because people try and live up to the expectations of others. Okay, today I'm a good player. People are making sure that I don't come up. How will they do? I will try my best. If they make sure that I don't come up, okay, it's not the end of the world. But I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it the right way. My hard work will pay good. Okay. I remember people grumbling. क्या सर इतना मेहनत करते हैं फर्स्ट राउंड मेरे को गोपी चंद ही मिलता है people would be grumbling काय मैं इतना प्रॅक्टिस करतो मला असं मला अरुंधती पहिला राउंड मिळतोय so what will you do okay that will happen once it will happen twice but that does not stop you from playing
Yeah.
it does not stop you from playing or you realize that okay now I know that I'm going to meet Arundhati in the first round. So what the hell should I do? I've got to work hard and become better than her and beat her. Simple. So you build up your mental. How does your mental level build up? When you are working hard and when you are doing the right things, automatically, as I said, your hard work, your consistency, your control, you're working. What does that build up? It builds up your confidence. What is confidence? Confidence in your mental approach. When your confidence is better, what is the next step? You're a champion. So also, if I'm working hard, if Arundhati is beating me, fine, I work hard. Next time I become close and finally I beat her. What happens? I become confident. Every time I get a better score with Arundhati, I get little more confident, a little more confident. You are going to try to beat me at the lowest, fine. That is okay. But I realize that I have to have a target. So I have got to go to reach that target. Now, if people will tell you, क्या तू इतना प्रैक्टिस करता चल ना अपन उधर जाके चाय पिएगा क्या तू इतना प्रैक्टिस करते कम ऑन लेट अस गो इडली खाएंगे ना चल ना वो अपन जाके मैकडॉनल्ड्स का बर्गर खाएगा क्या तू ये रोज चपाती भात चावल खाती तेरा अपन see now it goes on to your strength. Do you think that they are right or do you think what you are doing is right? If you think that they are right, then don't play the game. Go along with them. Are they playing the game? They're not playing the game. So they have every right to think that their idli and their vada sambar is much good. But you are not. You are not them. You have to decide. Either you are them or either you are you. So if you want to live to what they believe, then that's your problem. If you want to live to what you believe, keep on going. You will only progress because that is what you are doing for your progress, not for them. And then when you succeed, you go, yeah, मी तर सांगितलं ना, असंच करायला पाहिजे. Then it's going to be this way. Everybody likes a winner.
Yes.
Nobody likes a loser.
Loser, yeah.
Nobody likes a loser. So you've got to try, never give up, be the winner.
Very inspiring, sir. Very inspiring. A lot of things to learn actually. So I wanted to ask you, as you said, कि badminton has infected you. Tell us कि how badminton has inspired you throughout your life.
Probably there was nothing better to do. Yeah,
Okay.
I probably feel that I don't have anything better to do. That's what I'm doing. My wife always tells me that. So you, it is only badminton. But I really, you will not believe it that I have never gone on a holiday in my entire life. Small 2 3 days here and 2 3 days there we have gone. Namka Vasili, you see, like little achar. Otherwise, I've never done it.
Okay. So just to conclude, please share one of your best memories so far.
My best memory. I mean, it is such a wonderful thing that has happened. I was playing the All England Badminton Championship, and Prakash was there along with us, and we were getting ready to go for our match. And Prakash, we were staying at the YMCA, and Prakash was there and asked me. I was with Sanat Mishra that day, and he asked me, "Who are you playing?" So I said, "We are playing against Steen Flatberg and Jesper Halliday of Denmark." Oh, he said, "They're very good, and just do your best, and you know, play as you normally play." This, and he gave us a lot of. Don't worry. Now, Steen Flatberg and Jesper Halliday, prior to the All England, had just won the Scandinavian Open. In those days, it was uh, Danish Open, uh, Scandinavian or Swedish Open. That year they had the Scandinavian Open, a Scandinavian Open, All England Championship, and the World Championship. These three tournaments were one after the other on that particular year. Now, Jesper Halliday and Steve Flatberg had won the Scandinavian Masters, and they were one of the top ranked players combination there. So they were playing against us. So Sanat Mishra and myself, the first game we played, and we were hammered. Now, when we went to the and that time we don't have a coach coming to tell you. The badminton was you went there. It was like an examination hall. You were there in the examination hall, and the question paper was there. Now you were playing. You were writing your paper. I was playing. Now after we lost the first game, I went to Sanat and I told Sanat, I said, Sanat, this they don't, they're beaten us there. But let's play, what I and Pradeep used to play. We used to play this type of game. Let's start with this and we'll see how it goes. We'll take it from there. So he said, okay. So we started playing typical high. Whenever we got a chance, no hitting. Because I realized that we had lost a lot of matches because of trying to hit and we would play drops and play typical Indian, but we won the second game. After that, we won the third game. Now, third game was such that we were unfortunately on the center court, and we were on the center court not because it was Leroy Desai and Sanat Mishra, but because it was Jesper Halliday and Steen Flatberg center, and the entire Danish people were shocking. But on that day, they were quiet because their number one combination were losing. Fine, we won the match. And then we went to the kit room. Prakash had not seen the match. He asked us, "Kya ho gaya?" So we said, "Teen game." Oh, very good. Then Sanat said, "Jeet gaya." We won. Prakash couldn't believe. Wow, very good. That was that. When he said very good, I think it was the greatest compliment that we received to hear very good from a person like Prakash. It was, to me, it was, I had won the All England. It was, that he said very good was something great. And 20 minutes later, I had to play the next match. And before that, I had to go for a dope test. We were taken because we were taken for a dope test. That was the most interesting thing because in the 20 minutes, there was nothing inside it. There was nothing that I could take out to put in that bottle that they'd given me for dope test. So we were drinking fluids and fluids and fluids and making all types of noises for that liquid to come out, for our urine to come out for the dope test, but we couldn't have it. So ultimately, just 10, 12 minutes later on, a little bit came that was sufficient for the dope test. The dope test was given, and then we had to come back and go and play our next match. And our next match was against the top Chinese combination, which we lost. But I'm telling you, in those days, had we had a little better type of practice, I'm sure we would have done well. So that was the greatest memory, to win a match at the All England. And I'm sorry, I should go one step ahead. 1 week later, at the World Championship, the same combination whom we had beaten won the World Championship. So Jesper Halliday and Steen Flatberg became the world champions. But their triple crown was spoiled by us at the All England Championship.
Awesome, sir. That was amazing. I mean, the best memory ever. Sir, this session has been amazing. You have inspired us. Looking at you, we feel so inspired that you're still playing at this level. I can't imagine. I really can't imagine myself playing when I am at your age. I don't know. But looking at you, you inspire us, and the attitude you have, it's amazing. आपने जैसे बोला that uh, you would like to share whatever knowledge you have to the player who wanted to learn, and according to you, that's the best quality to have. And you told us about the C's of the game, like you have control, consistency, confidence, and you become the next fourth C, that is champion. That is the best part of it. And about the sporting system, about the coaching system of India, you said the execution of a training system is very important, and that is also great to know, and that's your viewpoint, and uh, and a great advice for Satvik and Chirag. I hope they see and learn. And it was a great session, sir. I've always been a fan of you, and with you being a coach, I won my gold medal in a nationals, and that's the best memory I have of you. Uh, and it was great, sir. And the today's session is really, really good. And I would like to thank you so much uh, for chatting with us. It's so inspiring and very learning session for us.
Thank you, Arundhati. It was a pleasure being here and sharing my experience to all of you all. I hope whoever is listening can just pick up a few points, and I hope whatever I've said would help them in their badminton career. Stay fit, do not get injured, everything will fall in place.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
God bless.
That's Leroy, sir, guys. So he said there are 3 C's you have to master, which are confidence, consistency, and control to become a champion. His enthusiasm and love for sport is so commendable. He gave great advices for Satvik and Chirag for their future in doubles. And lastly, he said execution of training system is very important for producing quality players. So guys, next week we are having Anup Sridhar. He's an Olympian, he's an Arjuna Awardee and a national champion. And currently he's the head coach of Anup Sridhar Badminton Academy in Bangalore. So he'll be sharing his journey, his views, and his experience in coaching so far with us. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next week.